I discovered a dark and hairy creature on a branch, the front of its body pressed tightly against the tree. At some point in time, we, Homo sapiens, did coexist with these Hobbit-like creatures. Welcome back to another episode of Mysteries of Asia with Sticky Sushi. Today we're talking about a very fascinating creature, a creature that has been on my radar for the longest time, especially more recently because there have been relatively new evidence of this strange creature. Today we're talking about the world-famous cryptid known colloquially as the Orang Pendek, which means short person or little man in Indonesian. It's a fascinating creature that has been spotted numerous times from as early as the 1920s. But whether or not it's real, we'll have to take a look at the evidence. My set is falling apart. Happy Mother's Day, guys. Today is the 12th. Also, today's video is sponsored by Sushii mic. Look at this. Test. Cute little mic, so tiny. I like that it's so small size because my previous mic, it's a big square mic. You guys know what mic I was using. So we're going to be testing out this Sushii mic today. It is rated IPX4, so it's resistant to rain. It's weather resistant, so you can bring this out to go outdoor shoots and whatnot. How's the audio quality like? Test. So
and it's dual.
And it's dual. Annabelle is using one too. Test. Look, it's so tiny. So small,
pretty good.
So compact. You can use the discount code SNEAKY10 for 10% off the Sushii mic if you're interested, if you're looking for a mic. So this is the Orang Pendek. It is a ground-dwelling small bipedal ape standing between 80 and 150 cm. So it's quite short. It's about here maybe? Here? That's why it's called the Orang Pendek, the little man. And it is often seen covered in short fur and with broad shoulders and long arms. And its presence has always been elusive, slipping through the dense undergrowth with the stealth of a ghost, leaving behind only fleeting glimpses and tantalizing footprints. And that's always the issue with these kind of mythical creatures, right? There isn't any hardcore evidence, not yet. We'll have a look at a video later. But yeah, it's always these little trails, footprints, hairs that people find, and we'll dive into these little evidence in a bit. So it is said to be living in the lush jungles of Indonesia, specifically the island of Sumatra, within the borders of Kerinci Seblat National Park. Now, Kerinci Seblat National Park, it may be called a park, but it is actually a huge swath of land. It is around 13,000 square kilometers, which is huge. Like Singapore is about 730 square kilometers, and this national park is 13 times the size of Singapore. So it's huge. There are definitely places in the jungle or in that park that has not been explored at all, which leaves a lot of room for the Orang Pendek to roam around and remain elusive from the prying eyes of the public. The Orang Pendek has allegedly been seen and documented for at least 100 years, and there have been numerous stories by local villagers. Native people in Sumatra is also said to fear the Orang Pendek because of its strength, even though it is not considered aggressive and will usually move away from any human it sees. It is said occasionally to use rocks and sticks as crude weapons. So it has some form of intelligence. The fact that it's able to use weapons and tools for their daily survival shows that, they have some sort of intellect. According to the natives of the island, its favorite fruit is durian. Yup. That's a fearsome weapon of choice. I mean, if I saw an angry human-like ape holding a durian charging at me, I would get the fuck out of there. So now is when we dip our toes into the evidence. In 1923, a witness reported seeing this mythical creature, and this is his account. I discovered a dark and hairy creature on a branch, the front of its body pressed tightly against the tree. The very dark hair on its head fell to just below the shoulder blades, or even almost to the waist. Had it been standing, its arms would have reached to a little above its knees. They were therefore long, but its legs seemed to me rather short. There was nothing repulsive or ugly about its face, nor was it at all ape-like. Another more famous anecdote happened in 1990s when Debbie Mater and her team conducted multiple expeditions in search of the Orang Pendek. So Debbie is like hardcore, full-on in this chase for the Orang Pendek. She's been studying and documenting this since the 1980s, and she was one of the first people that actually went on a full-on expedition in search of the Orang Pendek. So you can see her passion in trying to find this mythical creature. And this is footage of what she described after she allegedly saw the Orang Pendek.
Just walking between these two trees, vegetation to about hip level. This gorgeous, graceful, very strongly built primate, big ape, walking out of a legend and into broad daylight lit up by the sun. And the disbelief of seeing this thing. And if I'd seen it concealed in undergrowth, I could have said, well, I saw something. But I didn't see something. I saw an Orang Pendek walk across a valley just 30 meters away from me.
This is supposed evidence of a footprint of the Orang Pendek. Now, if we look at the image, it looks quite big, but it looks like an ape feet. I mean, you can't really tell, right? I'm no anthropologist, I'm not a biologist. From the perspective of the untrained public eye, if I were to see this in the wild, I would assume it's a gorilla footprint or just an ape-like creature. So there's a footprint comparison. So you can see human's feet on the top left, that's a human feet. But the Orang Pendek, does it look like an Orang Pendek foot to you?
I mean,
what would you say if we saw that in the wild? I would think it's just a gorilla footprint.
yeah.
Right,
Probably
it's not
like a mix between an animal and a human foot.
Yeah, or it could just be a very fat human feet. But I don't know, what do you guys think? Does this look like a folklore creature footprint? Primate biologists compared the cast with those from other known primates and local animals and concluded that it was definitely an ape with a unique blend of features from gibbon, orangutan, chimpanzee, and human. So people who analyze this footprint, they themselves don't even know which species of ape-like creature it came from. And I quote, "From further examination, the print did not match any known primate species, and I can conclude that this points towards there being a large unknown primate in the forest of Sumatra." The team even collected hairs supposedly from the Orang Pendek, and a closer examination concluded that the hairs originated from a previously undocumented species of primate. So from all these evidence that they collected, and after examining them, they didn't have any conclusive evidence that pointed them in the direction that this is the species, like, oh, it's an orangutan. So even with evidence, we don't really know where these little evidence, like the footprint and the hairs, came from. And finally, the most I don't know whether to say compelling or not, it's really up to you guys to see this evidence. So this is the most recent evidence of the Orang Pendek, and it is actually captured footage of what seemed like a small little hobbit man, a small man running through the forest. But let's just watch the video and we'll see. So this is a video of a group of off-road riders riding their bike through the jungle of Aceh, a region in Indonesia. And there we go. Suddenly out of the corner of the trail, a small tiny man just got up and started running away. It looks like it was just chilling by the path, like by the side of the path, and it just got up and ran away. Let's have a little zoom in on that creature. Yeah, it looked like he just got up. It was just sitting by the road because the camera was panned down, and then when he looked up, the guy, the Orang Pendek, was already running across. Like it looked like he just got up from the side and ran across. So obviously upon seeing this, the bikers stopped in their tracks. One even fell, and the guy who's filming even tried to chase after the Orang Pendek, but I don't think, oh, he actually followed it. Oh, damn. Yeah, so towards the end of the path, the Orang Pendek just darted into the bushes right beside the path. You know, I can't really make out what it is, right? But the guy looks naked. He looks like a butt-naked dude. And he actually looks quite tiny. He looks like a small man. So obviously this video went viral. A lot of people on the internet say that the video is fake or computer generated. But a forensic video analyst went to analyze this video, and Michael Primo, the analyst, said that the video is not altered and it is real. According to him, what do you think?
I honestly am not sure if this is conclusive enough
I don't think it's conclusive enough unless they actually caught the guy and restrained him and fucking kidnapped him, and they're like, who the fuck are you? Are you Orang Pendek?
Maybe he really just needs to go back home, take a shit.
Or it could be maybe one of those uncontacted tribes. You know, I don't know if there are any uncontacted tribes in Sumatra forest, but it's also a bit weird that this person is so tiny. You know, it's either a child or it really is a small man. But yeah, this video went viral, and till date it is allegedly the most compelling evidence of this Orang Pendek. Like finally it has been caught on tape, if it even is an Orang Pendek and not just a guy running home to take a fat dump. So is this conclusive enough evidence that the Orang Pendek is real? Or could it just be a random butt-naked dude running home cause he has diarrhea? Theories. Theory 1, it could be an ancient hobbit-like creature that lived or is still living today. In 2003, the remains of a small ape-like creature about 1.1 meters in height was discovered at Liang Bua Cave on the island of Flores, Indonesia. So you can see the pattern, like all the evidence and all these little, you know, hairs, bones, has all been collected in Indonesia. And this species is often compared to a hobbit due to its small size with distinctive shoulders and short legs, similar to the Orang Pendek, giving it the nickname the Indonesian Hobbit. So this species is called the Homo floresiensis. It is a discovered discovered and labeled creature that people have found the remains of. And you can see the skull, it looks smaller than the human skull. Partial skeletons of 9 individuals have been recovered, including 1 complete skull. Now obviously these remains have been subject of intense research, but the dominant consensus is that these remains do indeed represent a distinct species due to genetic and anatomical differences. So you can see in the following slide, the human skull is obviously way bigger. It looks like we have a bigger capacity for our bigger brains. The one on the right looks like a small ape, right? Lesser space for the brain. And this species, this Homo florensiensis, lived within the last 50,000 years, overlapping with Homo sapiens. So at some point in time, we, Homo sapiens, did coexist with these Hobbit-like creatures. So maybe people actually saw these small creatures before, like maybe their ancestors, they saw it, and then they passed down this story of like folklore. Oh, there used to be a small village of mini people in the Sumatra jungle, and then this folklore story got passed down to their children until today.
Honestly, it could be a mixture of everything.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they like durians as well.
Theory 2, it could be a subspecies of orangutan. As you can see here, these 3 orangutans. And these are the names of the different species. We have the Tapanuli orangutan, the Sumatran orangutan, and the Bornean orangutan. I'm gonna try to label these, which I'm pretty sure I will get wrong, because honestly they kind of look the same, except this guy. This guy looks fucking fat, dude. He looks well taken care of. He looks like the prime alpha ape of his pack. I'm gonna try maybe Borneo. This might be Borneo. And I'm gonna say this is the Sumatran. This guy looks like a Tapanuli. His face looks like a Tapanuli.
Congratulations, you got all wrong.
And I got all wrong. How the fuck will I know? How will I know which one is a fucking Bornean orangutan? But yeah, that's another theory, that the Orang Pendek might just be a subspecies, another undiscovered species of the orangutan. Because just as recently as 2017, we just found a new species of this great ape, the Tapanuli orangutan. So this is a new species of orangutan that has just been discovered in 2017. So there may be more species that we are unaware of residing in the Sumatran jungle. And to be honest, the descriptions of Orang Pendeks do kind of match the orangutans. Like they have hair on their head, you know, the long arms, and orangutans are pretty short and they are very strong creatures. Apes in general are just very strong creatures. However, the Orang Pendeks walk on their 2 feet instead of 4. Orangutans, actually they do, orangutans walk on their 2 feet, right? Sometimes they hobble on their 2 feet, right? Like, so yeah, orangutans are capable of walking on 2 feet, but they generally use all 4 of their limbs to traverse. And finally, theory 3, the Orang Pendek could just be a folklore, a myth. And I think it sort of ties back into theory 1, where we say that, you know, maybe their ancestors actually came across these Hobbit people and then they passed down stories. But maybe today, the Orang Pendek has already been extinct, but stories of the past still linger on, and they pass down the stories to their children. So
yeah, and maybe from there, like when they see orangutans, and then they just thought, oh yeah, maybe that could be Orang Pendek, and then like they just pass around stories.
Yeah, but I'm quite leaning towards theory 1 though, like they actually did exist in the past.
Because like for the first statement, like the guy, the 1923 dude, he did mention that like there's nothing repulsive or ugly about its face. So that could be like maybe the Homo floresiensis. Yeah, maybe it's mixed in with like other accounts of people seeing new species of like orangutan, and then it just kind of got jumbled up.
So some view Orang Pendek as a creature of folklore and mythology deeply ingrained in the cultural beliefs of the indigenous people of Sumatra. In this interpretation, Orang Pendek represents a spiritual or symbolic entity rather than a physical being. So this theory proposes that it could just be like, you know, your boogeyman or Santa Claus, where it is a mythical, you know, it represents an idea, a mythical creature or being that represents an idea, not necessarily physical. You know, maybe it was a story passed down to children to deter them from going into the forest at night. Like, don't go into the forest at night or the Orang Pendek might capture you and knock you out with a durian. Despite numerous reported sightings and expeditions conducted to search for the Orang Pendek, concrete evidence of its existence remains elusive. What do you guys think? Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye.